Okay, my friends, I'm about to begin making the Sichuan Dan noodles. I'm going to have to bang out the camera here for a second because I need 2 cups of water. I want to show you something that's very complex and beautiful. It has 26 ingredients. So I'm starting early-ish. The first thing we're doing is we're gonna pickle the mustard greens. But because I don't have mustard greens, and it's not like it's the time of the year that I could go pick some, I'm using Swiss chard, about a pound of Swiss chard. I may not use the whole amount, but I am going to pickle the whole amount. So that's 2 cups of water. I actually put a little more than 2. Turn the heat up to high. It's hard for me to decipher these graphics. I need 3¼ cups of sugar. It's not 3¼ cups of sugar. That's just my mind working in advance. It's 3/4 cups of sugar. And we want to get, about that much. We're going to add 1/2 cup of white vinegar. And it's just a regular old white vinegar. This is a light pickle. If you want to do a pickle, if you wanted to do it really properly, then you would put these in a jar with a lid that you have boiled, and you would let them sit in that jar in the fridge for, well, it doesn't have to be the fridge, but you would let them sit for 2 days. I'm doing a light pickle because I don't think, well, I don't have the time for it. I just want to get to approximate where we're going and show you where we're going with this. So we're going to do half a teaspoon of black peppercorns and a bunch of salt. Let's see here. I think it would be teaspoons of salt. Using kosher salt, obviously. I always do. It has no iodine, and it makes for more pure flavors. That's 2. And then when that comes to a boil, I'm going to let it continue boiling for 5 minutes. Then I'll be right back. In the meantime, I'm going to chop up my chard. Oh, let me show you my chard. It's been washed, and it will be dried. Actually, it might not be dried, but it will be chopped. No point in drying it since I'm throwing it right back into some boiling vinegar. That's it for now. Just a heads up here. If you want to look into how to pickle greens, look up pickled collard greens. That'll show you how to do it. And that's my bowl, but that's not that'll melt down really quite a lot. So I just wanted to show you here that I have some stocks. I used red chard and white chard, but I'm only using the red chard. And these will get pickled as well, and they'll provide some crunch. I'm just trying to make them bite-sized. Perhaps I should make them smaller. I haven't used chard because I don't usually make it this way. But the side point is I have 46 seconds left of that boiling. I want to put these pieces in for the crunch. But I still have a bunch left, right? The white ones that are kind of ugly and a bunch more red ones. I can always add those for crunch later. But I think this is quite enough. And then we're going to dump the whole thing into the boiling water. Let's do the hard parts first. And then that's going to pickle lightly for 2 minutes. It's also going to reduce quite a bit. And I'm not sure what I'm going to do. Oh, that's through 5 minutes. Okay, shut up. Okay, 1, 2. And here's the chard. I said push. It says push. And I do have something here. Just gonna make them get into the vinegar and sugar water. I can turn that down, that's overboiled. Simmer this actually. And basically, chard is my go-to because it's more delicious than kale by 1,000%, in my opinion. And it's at adult stage, it's adult, who knows, way less tough than spinach. And spinach has a flavor that is not really the same. Baby spinach works, but you wouldn't cook baby spinach for 2 minutes. It would disappear into your hand. Let that simmer for another minute. I smell it. Anyway, this is going to sit the entire time that I'm going to take it off the heat soon. I don't know how pickles... Well, that's the sign that I'm taking it off the heat. So, when we're done, we'll only have like very small amounts to use. But it's crucial, in my opinion, to try your best. I don't have pickled dandelion greens, so I'm pickling my own chard. And there's one more thing I don't have, and I'm replacing it, but I think you'll understand. And that's the second episode of this little preamble. Okay, my friends, I'm quite certain I would have started this production a little bit earlier if I had known what I would be doing. So I need to do here, I'm going to use the Sichuan peppercorns. I need to toast them, and I'm going to use, there's a half and a whole teaspoon. No, I need 3/4. So I need 1/2 and 1/4. Let's not overdo it, because this can really, you know, it's known to numb the mouth. And that's actually one of its main features. They call in French frein épineux, or prickly ash. So it comes from a tree, and it's prickly, all right. So what we're gonna do is just heat it up till we can, I have it a little bit on high heat, and we're gonna keep this going until we can smell it from a distance. No burning, no burning, just keep it going. And as that goes, now I can smell it. It's very fragrant. It's actually kind of like, it's like a flower. The fragrance is like a flower. Before this burns, here I'm turning it down. I'm getting out my mortar and pestle. I don't get to use my mortar and pestle much because I have a spice grinder. But I use that for pepper and garam masala and various masalas. I'm not going to risk... I was going to say, I'm not going to risk wasting this. But I do want to get a little bit more toastiness in there. It's quite unique. The other thing I must add, you know what, I'm just going to do it. You can see the oils are out. I can anyway. I can feel them. They're sticking together. That means the oils have come out. That's all we really want. I also want to add that these noodles, turn that off. I mistakenly bought Cantonese lo mein noodles, fresh ones, twice. Not once, but twice. But I knew I had Shanghai noodles, but I couldn't remember when I was in the store whether I had the Shanghai ones or the Cantonese ones. So I bought the Cantonese ones without having a list. I was a bit dumb. So I've already cooked them in a big quart of oil, and I've rinsed them. They were fresh, and I've added some peanut oil to keep them separate. And I've rinsed those down for the walking part. And those are Cantonese lo mein. Lo mein are more, they have the look of linguine, but they are not linguine because the color they have does not come from an egg. It comes from a brine made out of an alkaline, also known as polycarbonate of soda. So I'm just mixing this. Wow, that smells good. So I'm mixing that 3/4 of a teaspoon. It's not exactly mixing. I'm creating a powder. Wow. Oh my gosh, it smells like a pine forest. And I'm not exaggerating. Okay. So the mortar and pestle. Wow. That's gonna be something good. So I'll just put that aside, and later I'll use a spatula to get it all out. That didn't take long. Now we're gonna make, oh, sorry, can you see? The ragu. And there is a reason we're gonna call it a ragu, and that's because we're going to use some Italian ingredients. I'm gonna throw in some, put this back on to medium high, and I'm going to add a little sunflower oil, and I'm going to get the carrots going. Now I have 1 carrot, 1 chopped medium, 1 celery stick chopped medium, and 1 small onion chopped medium. And of course I put it all in one and found out later that probably shouldn't do it that way. So I'm going to, what am I gonna do? I wanna do the carrot first. You know what? Who cares? I'm gonna cook the whole thing. That's what you call a sofrito in Italian cooking, and it's the base of all great sauces, including bolognese. And so this is going to end up being like a bolognese. And we're going to add, oh, here it is, the little pinch of salt to get that osmosis going. Just a pinch. And I'll have a pinch of freshly ground pepper, but I won't add it right away. All right, so that actually didn't take very long to get some browning going on. That's because I chopped these pieces into very regular pieces. I have this on medium. What we need to do now is add a 1/4 teaspoon of ground ginger. I have, oh, sorry, fellow folks. I have fresh ginger, but that's for later. Okay, so we do 1/4 teaspoon of that. Then we're gonna add the garlic. Obviously, I'm reserving the fresh ginger. Hold on. I'm gonna add some more oil because this pan is getting dry. And I'm going to add probably just a handful of the spring onions. Oops. Because the rest will be topping. And I'll put that somewhere safe, along with the powdered ginger. I don't want it to get wet. And we'll just stir this up a bit to build some flavor. That's smelling really good. And I don't want this all to burn up. There's a lot of cooking to go on. So I'm gonna throw in some more oil, and I'm going to start with the 1/4 cup of soy sauce. Hold on, I had to find that thing. First I'm gonna do 2 teaspoons of the Sichuan vinegar. And that's 2 teaspoons. I gotta turn this down. There's too much browning going on. 1 teaspoon. 2 teaspoons. Smells like balsamic because it is basically balsamic. Taking it off the heat. I have to have the 5-spice chili spice. Sorry, Chinese 5-spice. I need 2 teaspoons of chili oil. Wow, this is smelling really good. Yeah, that's right. I was just double checking. That's 1, 2. Now, let's warm that all up. And here's what the other substitution. I don't have Sichuan chili bean paste, so I'm using gochujang. And of course, I'm gochujang. Of course, I'm massacring that word. I need a tablespoon. Voila. And it's not coming out, but wow, that smells good. And then I'm going to add all the fresh ginger, which was a little extra. And I don't want to scrimp on the Korean paste. The paste that I can't pronounce. but I don't have the Sichuan one there. So we're going to put that aside. I'm going to stir all this. It's at a medium low temperature now, and again, wow, I can't even explain this. I can't explain it. I can't explain the odors, but I know that the vegetables are pretty cooked, and I know that they will be even more. Here, let me put the lid on the Korean chili paste and put it away, and put away the 5 spice. Okay, that is thickened up. Now we're going to add 1/4 cup of the soy sauce. We're going to add the 1/4 cup of the tomato paste. I guess that's with the Italian ingredients causes it to help be something like a ragu. We're going to cook that down a bit. Okay, so it's nice and thickened, looks really good. I'm going to add a cup of chicken stock, which is going to help it be nice and ragu-y. 1. We can always add more if we want. And we're going to try to get out all of this Sichuan powder, Sichuan peppercorns that have been blended into a powder. Turn the heat up a bit because we're going to cook the pork in this for 30 minutes. And I'll be stirring occasionally. Where's the pork? I lost the pork. Oh my God, where's the pork? I'm actually, I'm joking, right? So it's 1/2 pound of pork, not very much. There's so much else going into this. We're gonna mush this up and simmer it. But first I need it to come to a boil, as you do with all such kinds of sauces that involve raw things like meat and fish. And we're gonna simmer this ragu on low. Gosh, that smells good. It's already cooking. So I'll set the timer. Every few minutes, I'll give it a stir. And then we'll be able to rest before we walk it. Walk, the verb to walk, W-O-K, cooking in a wok. I don't know if that's a real word. Anyway, that's pretty spectacular. I hope it works out. Okay, so you know what I did? I cooked the ragu on slow with the lid on. I added the shiitake mushrooms, and I added 1/4 cup of water and let that simmer for another 5 minutes or 10, probably 10. Smells amazing, looks like ragu. That's because it is pretty much a ragu. So that could simmer for another few minutes, another 5, but I don't see a lot of liquid in there. All right, so we're gonna finish our dinner. Sichuan dan dan noodles. Got a tablespoon of butter going in there. Over medium-high heat, we're going to put in our ragu, which has had a lot of time for the flavors to gel together. The butter is just there to help loosen it up. And I'm going to add 3 tablespoons of water to that to loosen it up. I'm just using a regular spoon, so hold on. 1, 2, 3. And hopefully this gets heated up quickly enough for the video. Should be stirred constantly, but right now I'm putting the lid on. I have a few devices. I have my topping, which is sheared scallions. And I'm going to add a little bit more of this. I'm just going to use my hands for the cilantro bit, because that's just going to give a hint of flavor without upsetting anyone who finds that it tastes like soap, which appears to be everyone in my family, and the news is spreading. So the more they tell you it's like soap, the more people tell you it's like soap. And in fact, this is coriander. The concept, the name of it is, Americans call it cilantro because it's used in lots of Mexican and Tex-Mex food. And that's a Spanish word for it, so that's what we call it now. But when I grew up, it was called fresh coriander. Maybe if I tell them it's coriander, they won't be upset by it. And in fact, I'm not going to tell them about it at all. So we got it on medium-high, and we're just going to keep stirring this. I have my trusty wooden. I'm going to get that going hot. But it's already coming along. I've drained my pickled greens, and they don't look really pretty, but these are charred, not dandelions. I've tasted them, and they're really yummy. I think the purple parts will just add a little bit of color. So that will be nice. So let's get going here. I'm hoping this is the last video, that I don't have to wait. Although if we have to wait, I'll edit it out for my YouTube channel. That's what I usually do. There's a piece of butter. I don't know what that is. Oh yeah. So obviously not hot enough. Well, I want this to get nice and hot. This is actually not very Asian ragu. So I guess you would have to call this something like fusion. I don't have, oh, there we go. I hear the bubbling, the sizzling. Oh yeah, that's good. We like that. Good thing about using an iron skillet. Well, a carbon steel skillet. Carbon steel, by the way, is just another way of saying strengthened steel. Most good carving knives or sets of knives have 8% content of carbon. So we're gonna get that pretty hot. And then we're gonna put in our noodles. And I might as well just start putting them in now because they're gonna cool the whole thing down. And I only par cooked them, 3 minutes. And we're just gonna, I don't know how many I'll put in because there's not a lot of sauce. Let's see. Oh, I wish I had that other device. I do not have the device that came with. And so I'm just gonna, yeah, I think that's enough noodles for the sauce. And then I'm gonna add in a couple of handfuls of that. I don't think I need all of that either. That's the greens. We're just gonna get this going. Oh, and you can hear it. Okay. I just splattered all over the wall. Lovely. That's an easy fix. Turn this down a bit. Take away all of that. Throw in the fresh herbs. Chop them with your hands. And keep going. Okay. There was a lot of ragu. I mean, there was a lot of noodles. And the ragu likes to settle to the bottom. See how it goes? And then we just want everything to heat up nicely. So I'm gonna use my tongs and gently roll these together. Gently turn it. And we want everything heated through. Gotta turn this up. And we've got our meat sauce, ragu. And remember all those Asian flavors we built? This is going to be genius. All right. I'm going to I turned it up again. I'm going to do one more turn and let it loosely fall. One more turn. Waiting for that sound of the sizzle. Remember, use all your senses. If you hear it, it's cooking. If you don't hear it, it's warming. And then you have, touch it, it's hot. I'm going to flip it again. I keep making a mess when I do that. Remember, you're also recooking the noodles, so you don't want this to go too far. And I think that's done. Sounds good, tastes good. And now I'm going to get a nice bowl and we'll plate it. I'll show you that in a second. So this is Dan Dan noodles made with a ragu with 26 ingredients, lots of flavor. And we're going to plate it. Something like a twist. Maybe get some of the, we want to get both the ragu and want the ragu and the, what am I calling it? the pickled greens, because that gives it a little bit of a bite, and top it with onions, and there you have a kind of a Pan Asian Sichuan dandan noodles with pork ragu. This is cooking, so I have to take it off again before I take a picture.